As a child, we all long for a hero. As a society as a whole, we search for that leader that can be our hero. But as we mature and as we grow, it dawned on us that the hero is inside every one of us. And in the world's social media, we all start at zero. And slowly we search deep within ourselves to find who we are. And we have that moment of truth where we embrace that the hero that we've been searching for has been there all along. It is living deep inside of every one of us. And we start embracing that journey and we become that hero that we search for.
Hey everybody, good morning and welcome to episode 55 of Zero to Hero. Today we are hanging out with another awesome hero in our community. His name is Danny Moran. He is the founder of Advoteck LLC. So let's go ahead and bring him in. Danny, how you doing, buddy?
Good, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. So before we get into this whole thing, Danny, what, for the people out there that are watching that haven't heard about Advoteck yet or don't quite know about it quite yet, what is Advoteck? What are you guys doing over there?
Yeah, absolutely. Advoteck is a software development company. We are focusing on building a mobile keyboard application that recognizes predetermined numerical patterns and keywords, thus notifying a caretaker if personal information is shared with somebody that a dependent shares online.
That's so amazing. So it's actually, kind of looking for certain things that loved one could be putting in that could be harmful to give out to the public and kind of keying in the caregiver on what those keystrokes are. Am I hearing that right?
Yeah, that's basically what it is. The main focus is to stick to the script. So we want to make sure that we're only recognizing personal information and then notifying the caretaker. So, for example, I have a 27-year-old sister, and I don't really care if she's having a conversation with her girlfriend online, right? I don't care about that. But what I do care about is if for some reason she's having a conversation with somebody else and they start asking her for her debit card information. We do care about that. So we would want to be notified, myself or my parents in this case, if that information is being shared.
Yeah, that's so powerful, man. And it's so important, stuff like addresses, credit card information, that kind of stuff we don't want getting out. And it kind of sounds like you've had some experience with this. This is coming from somewhere. What's kind of the story behind Advoteck?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, my sister, she's actually been scammed quite a few times online, which has resulted in some financial loss. Some of it was recovered, some of it wasn't. But really, that's our main focus, is to kind of protect her personal information as well as my parents. And we figured that this is the best way to go about it.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, the applications on this can be kind of all over the place, right? So who's kind of the target for this? What is this geared towards?
Yeah, it's definitely geared towards vulnerable communities. So the special needs community, the elderly community. When I first started looking into solutions for my family, that's really how it all got started. I didn't really find anything that wasn't, extremely intrusive. And when I realized that there wasn't a product out there that was specifically designed to only protect personal information and not provide every bit of information as possible to the caretaker, that's when I realized that I could actually build something that was specifically for vulnerable communities in this sense. Like with my sister being 27, she's obviously an adult. She can make, her own decisions. But protecting her personal information is what we're after.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and providing some of that privacy as well, right? So there's products out there that are more geared towards, the little ones that you are able to see everything that they're doing and
Yeah.
everything that they're communicating about online. But with Avotech, it's really more to provide that privacy, but also just to make sure that we're not giving out any information that we don't want to be getting out there. Is that right?
That's exactly right. And what's cool about it is that this is going to apply towards the elderly community too. Like I mentioned, vulnerable communities in general, especially those over 18, you don't need to monitor every single situation. So, the way that I look at it is I don't need to, my parents are 65. As they continue to age, I don't need to see every single thing that they're doing, and nor do they want that.
Right.
So I just think about that scenario where, as they get older, I'm going to want something that is going to be able to protect their personal information as well. And I can do that without invading on their privacy.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's such a big issue. There's obviously YouTube channels out there that are dedicated to, kind of busting these scammers and kind of going about it in that sort of vigilante way, right? But
Yeah.
you're able to do it on the front side, which is definitely a beautiful thing. We got Ebony coming in here in the comments. Good to know, right? So we're already spreading the awareness about Advoteck here and getting it out there for the people. So that's definitely a good thing. So Danny, let's get into the meat and bones here, man. So not really Advoteck, right? But who is Danny Moran? Give us the elevator pitch. Tell us who you are in a couple sentences.
Yeah. I am a person that is all about helping other people. I've always been that way. It's definitely bitten me in the butt a few times, but that's just who I am, and that's how I kind of perceive life. So that's my approach to it, really. I enjoy volunteering. Recently, I've been doing some stuff with the Special Olympics. We've been building a pickleball program, and we're trying to expand that across the country. It's been going really well.
That's awesome. Yeah, the fastest growing sport in America is, as they say, and a big hockey fan, as I can tell in the background as well. Is that Sidney Crosby and can't see the other one.
Bobby Orr.
Okay.
Yeah, there's probably a little glare there. Yeah, I'm absolutely a hockey fan. I grew up playing hockey.
Okay.
My dad got me into it. I started roller skating at, I don't know, probably 5 or 6, and started playing roller hockey the same year. And then got into ice hockey when I was 7, and really I played until my freshman year, and then I picked the sport that I was best at, which was tennis. And I played tennis for probably competitively for 13 years.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, you hear about tennis players coming out of the Midwest, pretty often. Hockey players out of Kansas City specifically. Obviously, the Midwest is pretty big up there in Minnesota, Michigan with the hockey players.
Yeah,
but Kansas City, it's not as big of a market down here, I feel like.
No, it's not as big as a market, but there's some really cool people in the hockey community here, actually. Ken Morrow was my hockey coach growing up. He was actually on the 1980 Olympic team.
Oh, that's awesome.
He was a defenseman for the USA 1980 Olympics hockey team. So that was really cool. It was a pleasure growing up and learning from him, and his son's an awesome person too, Evan. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, that's always one that I wanted to get into, but it's like I said, it's hard here in Kansas City to find a good league.
Yeah, the barrier to entry is pretty tough too.
Yeah,
I was very fortunate.
It's a little pricey for sure.
Yeah.
Not as quite, obviously, as we know, we're both golfers, so we know what the price is on that too. But
yeah,
good times. So Danny, tell us a little bit about the social media journey, with Advoteck, and then kind of with your own journey as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've been involved in social media personally, obviously, for a long time. I think I obviously beat the system and got a Facebook page before I was 13 is what they call it. I think I had one at probably 10 or 11. Maybe don't tell my parents. Probably they wanted me to.
Tell them you're skirting the security system.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I've been around social media for a while. Really, my main experience with social media was probably with my event planning company before this. We did a lot of social media campaigns and stuff like that to book events and do weddings and stuff like that. For Advoteck specifically, we haven't really pushed towards building out a campaign yet, mainly because the product that we're trying to build is, like I was explaining, applicable to those vulnerable communities. We feel that if we provide that exposure without having the product fully developed and available, that we could bring attention to these communities even more so than they already are targeted, if that makes sense. So we've kind of held back from pushing on those social media campaigns so far.
Gotcha. Yeah, and in an effort to be responsible with it, right? Not,
Yeah,
I mean, you are dealing with kind of a sensitive, issue and product, right? As far as people's security and their safety is concerned. So I definitely see where you're coming from there. Tell me a little bit about your experience with the event planning company that you were working with there. How did the social media help there? What was the experience like for you guys on that side?
yeah, absolutely. So my business partner and I at the time, Jacob, we owned an event planning company called Twilight Entertainment, and we did anywhere between like small shows, concerts, and weddings, and everything that you could imagine, corporate events, caterings, and everything like that. Social media really helps with that. Facebook, in particular, Facebook ads, um, really drove traction, like really drove the numbers up for us. We were seeing, I mean, 15 to 20% growth month over month when we were pushing those ads. So pretty cool experience. Obviously, not all of it was organic, but those numbers were good.
Yeah, no, and that's a great point, right? I mean, we've talked a few times about on the show about how social media is free, right? It doesn't have to be, right? We can pay a little bit, and we can get a little bit of a pretty good return. Let me ask you this though: before you guys started running ads, did you already kind of have a little bit of a following built up, or was it kind of the ads that started that following, or how did that look for you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. It was more word of mouth. We had both previously worked at Chicken and Pickle, and we decided to leave Chicken and Pickle and open up the event planning company. So we were able to kind of utilize our networks that we built through Chicken and Pickle to book a few events. And that lasted us probably close to 6-7 months before we needed to actually start pushing towards building a bigger audience and actually getting more clients.
That's awesome. Yeah, so you guys kind of had like the friends and the family network that kind of came in, and then obviously the professional network that kind of knew about what you guys were doing, and then kind of spark some ads on top of that, and we were rocking and rolling. Does that sound about how it went down?
That's exactly right.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, and the reason that I ask those questions, right, is a lot of people think that they can just get on and start pumping ads, and it's gonna magically increase their following and blow them up, right? In some cases, that can happen. Usually, that's kind of attached to like something that's too good to be true or unbelievable deals or something like that, where it really drives that traffic. But where as an agency, where we really see awesome results is kind of both, right? So kind of building up that organic following, which you guys did through your networking and having the friends and family and everybody come check out the page, I'm sure as well.
Yeah.
And then put a little bit of cash at it, right? And I'm sure. Let me ask you this, and you don't have to tell me because it is kind of personal. What was your guys' ROI like when you were running the ads? Was it beneficial for you? Were you getting the money back out of it?
We didn't really start seeing a positive return on it until maybe month 2 or month 3 of running those ads. We were getting a lot of impressions, but not a lot of conversion.
Mm,
That was really the problem we were running into. And honestly, I think a lot of the impressions were, uh, like we discussed, friends and family
sure.
really wanting to support the cause, which was really nice.
Yeah,
We obviously appreciated that, but
of course.
that wasn't going to pay the bills, right?
Right. Right. They're
So,
not the ones that are buying the tickets. Yeah, and
yeah.
that's another great point. So you guys did see the return, but it took a little bit of
Yeah.
running those ads, and kind of building that up. And that's exactly what I was expecting to hear, right? Because it does take time, right? This isn't social media is not a free. I mean, it is free, but it's not a magic sauce, right? Where if you
Yeah.
jump on there and you throw $500 a month at an ad, all of a sudden it's gonna happen, right? It takes time. We've got to build up followers and with good content attached to it as well, right? What were you guys running the ad to? Was it a video or an
Yeah,
image? Or?
it was like a promo video. We did it at a really beautiful wedding out towards UCM. I'm blanking on the wedding venue right now, but it was amazing, and we got some really good videos and photography from it. So
That's awesome.
we did that, and then we also did a dueling pianos event hosted at iWorks in North Kansas City, which went really well. It was awesome. We used some content from that as well to do the promo video, but that's really all we pushed. We pushed a couple more ads, but they were pretty basic, pretty standard stuff. More about the business side of things. And honestly, looking back, what I think would have helped a little bit more was if we kind of leaned on our why a little bit more, on why we were actually going about it this way, why we wanted to provide and present these events a certain way. I think we could have gotten a lot more organic traffic that way and probably resonated with a lot more people that way as well.
That's so powerful, man. I appreciate you saying that because yeah, people do care, right? They want to know what's going on behind the scenes, right? We've talked about that on this show a few times as well as people want to know what's happening
Yep.
behind closed doors, right? And why you're actually doing it. So great points, Danny, man. That's pure gold for anybody out there that's listening. And the visuals are powerful, right? It sounds like you weren't even running some kind of unbelievable deal, but powerful visuals along with that targeted audience nails it, man, which is awesome. That's awesome.
No, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Now, Danny, every superhero has a defining moment. What do you think yours is when it comes to life and career?
Oh, I'll give you two. So a little bit of a backstory for me, a little bit further back, I guess, is I was adopted, and when I turned 7 years old, that's when my parents told me. We had a really good conversation about it, and some people might think that's a little bit early, which it probably is, but I was the kid that never stopped asking questions. I just pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. So it's like I didn't really give them an option. So when I found out that I was adopted, that's kind of my defining moment, because I remember specifically that I wanted to give back to the family that took on the responsibility of me and my sister and took us in to love us and care for us and provide for us for years and years to come. That I wanted to be able to give back to them in every way that I could. They were really good about teaching me about how to be empathetic and how to relate to people and get to know people on a deeper level than just the surface, which is really cool too. And then as far as the professional career, I would say that my moment was I grew up looking up to my neighbor is another part of the story. He's a huge entrepreneur, and I knew that that's something I wanted to do as well. I watched him succeed at that level and become very successful. So I wanted to follow that path, and I knew that that could provide me the opportunity to get back to my family as well. So after the event planning company failed because of COVID, that's when I decided to kind of put my heart into what I believe my true passion is, and that's getting Advoteck off the ground. So I guess professionally, my defining moment would be when my event planning company failed, my first real failure, we'll call it.
Yeah, those are the best ones, I think. When it's like the lowest moment, and it's like, okay, where do we go from here? And I've had so many founders on this show, come on and talk about their defining moment, and I would say 80 to 90% of the time, it's like their lowest point in their life, where it's like, man, or one of the lowest points in their life, right? It's, that the company failing probably wasn't the lowest thing that you've ever gone through, but in that moment, it's like, gosh, right? I mean, I can imagine how you feel on that, and then to sprout something so beautiful on the other side, man, is perfect. I want to go back and talk. I first of all didn't know you were adopted. That's definitely I could see that being the beginning of a great origin story there, and I could definitely see you being the type of person that just keeps asking and asking and asking, that until they give you an answer, which is fantastic. At 7 years old, so you find out at 7, and then you kind of realize at that point, man, I want to, one of my purposes, one of my whys is to give back to the family. That's very mature for a 7-year-old to kind of realize that. I mean, do you remember kind of how that thought process came about, or was it just kind of something that second nature popped into your head? You're like, oh wow, they're going out for me, or how did that happen?
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it right. I mean, second nature. I don't know how else to explain it, because all I felt immediately wasn't like, oh, well, who are my real parents are, or anything like that. Like, it was nothing like that. It was,
interesting.
I will be eternally grateful for what my family has done for me.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I felt. And
awesome.
I don't know. I think I chalk that up to really the way that I was raised, growing up with such loving people in my life. So
yeah, it sounds like they're amazing, man. How last question that I'll ask on this: how long was it before you find out? When you were adopted until you found out?
Say that again.
Yeah, how long was it between like when they actually adopted you to when you found out? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, so I was born in '96. I was adopted in 1999.
Okay.
So
It's about 3. Okay. Wow.
yeah,
So that was, I mean, as far as you knew, that was the family, and it didn't probably matter anyways. Those are the people that were looking out for you, and you were gonna do everything you could for them on the backside, man.
yeah, exactly.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. I think you might have a really good answer for this. It sounds like you've got a few in your life, and I know you're, you know, working to be a hero yourself. What are the attributes that you feel define a hero?
Yeah, the attributes. I mean, I just think you have to consistently look out for other people's, um, feelings and emotions and what they're going through, and being able to empathize. That's my biggest thing. I always try and relate to people in whatever way I can, and if I can, I try and get a better understanding of where they're coming from, um, and take that into consideration at pretty much all points in my life.
Yeah. I think you nailed it. I think that is the biggest one for me as well, is really, having the power to be empathetic and really see life through others' perspectives. I think a lot of the problems that we run into in this world as humans are, we're very centered on what we want, right? And what we think, and all that, that we sometimes don't even understand or care to understand the other side of somebody. So that's so good, man. Great answer. Now, Danny, if you did have to pick one superhero, and I will start this by saying this is the one that's gotten the last few of our guests here. It's kind of hung them up a little bit. But if you had to pick one superhero that relates best to Danny Moran, who would that be? And give us a couple reasons why.
I was watching a couple of your other interviews last week and earlier this week, even. I won't lie to you, I had to do some research as well. And I started looking into, what superheroes share the most common characteristic traits that I kind of see in myself. And I guess Superman's my answer.
Okay.
I didn't really grow up watching a lot of those movies or shows or anything like that. But after reading about his character, I think it's pretty spot on. And I mean that in the most humble way possible, of course.
Well, your stories are somewhat similar, right? I mean,
Yeah.
he's adopted, right, in Kansas. I mean, there's a lot of I feel like a lot of Kansas Cityans really lean into Superman just based off of like a geographical sense, but you relate to him even more so, and the fact that you guys have kind of a somewhat similar origin story.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So, Danny, thank you, man, for coming on and being a guest. How can people? I know you guys aren't pumping anything on social media yet, but if there's people out there that want to get involved with what you're doing, or believe in what you're doing, want to follow what's happening, how can they do that?
Yeah, they can absolutely follow myself on LinkedIn. It's just Danny Moran. They can also follow Bryce Wolf. He's going to be my business partner. He's a law student at UMKC right now, actually, second year. And things have been going great for us. So feel free to check us out on LinkedIn. I think that's probably the best place to reach us.
Perfect. Yeah. So check them out on LinkedIn, Danny Moran, Bryce Wolf. And then I think Advoteck has a page on there as well. So
Yeah,
you can give them a follow as well. But Danny, man, again, thank you so much for coming on the show, brother.
Gino, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, everybody out there, have a great day. Thanks for tuning in.
Hey, are we still live? Hey guys, we're still live. Hey guys, this is Kevin Kwok, founder of J29 Creative Group. So who are we? We're a marketing agency here in Kansas City. We're all about a holistic approach to marketing that builds your brand and nurtures online community. But to be honest with you, you guys don't care.